Welcome back to more Final Fantasy XII The Zodiac Age. Let's continue through the Nechrol of Nabudis after defeating Fury last time, who I've always wondered if its name is a pun on furry, but I don't know, yeah. Now, I actually just, like, even with Faith, Ashe wasn't really doing a whole lot more damage with Arrow than she would have been before, so I'm wondering just how much Faith affects things. Or I wonder if it's just like, oh, Penello's, like, very far away. Maybe I can get into the circle as she's casting it. Probably didn't even need to go for Courage there, but, yeah, unless it's just, like, a boost to the magic stat, and since Ashe is, like, almost at 99 magic anyway, maybe, like, that's the cap, and maybe Ashe's, like, her magic is so high that Fate isn't really boosting it that much. Because, yeah, it doesn't seem like it's having that big of an effect. Is there a chest here? Maybe it's behind the wall. I know that there is somewhere that you can... Oh, it's probably this chest. Carboneer Mail. Isn't that like a kind of gunner? Maybe that's, okay, heavy armor 9. It's, increases magic. Interesting, heavy armor that raises magic, although not nearly as much as what Penello currently has, so it's not great for her. Yeah, you can't even use that. It's probably, honestly, good for, like, a Bushi and Knight combo. That's really the main thing that I can think of. But yeah, there's an area in here that you need to examine, like, one of the pillars that has an exclamation mark on it. Okay, so doing, like, 21,000 with full HP is, that's definitely a decent amount of damage. Just checking every nook and cranny, because I know I really do want to find that secret shop, because I know they sell some very, very good spells. Okay, we're all still floatified. And yeah, zombie warlocks from the Pharos. They're actually considered a Nechrol of Nabudis enemy when it comes to the bestiary, so... Oh! Float wore off, and that happened. I don't want to set a gambit for float because it's too situational for that, but do need to make sure that I keep it up whenever it goes off. Yeah, Ashe is not at full HP, so like 10,000. Yeah, I need to look up exactly like how much Faith, like if it's a buff to magic or if it's just a black robes! Yeah, now I can actually try that out with Fran, what I was saying before, but, or if it's an actual, like, a straight-up boost to, I think I remember this hallway, like, magic damage, rather than a buff to the stat itself. It's always hard to tell. Well, okay, Penello getting annulled is bad, but not as bad as Ashe getting annulled. In fact, maybe it is, because... now, you know, well, she can't use, although she just used, I think, charge and got a lot of MP back, so Haste mode, which, yeah, Haste goes not in here, it's in the later stages of the Great Crystal. So we probably won't have that for quite a while. Still planning out the kind of order that I'll take on the dungeons in the quote-unquote post-game. Because I know that the area, like, in the head of mines is, like, in the 70s, so we'll probably need to grind a bit before taking that on. But the Great Crystal, I think, is doable after you beat the main story. And then this place, I'd say the best time for it is, like, now, because the enemies are all, like, in the high 40s. Doesn't look like there's anything in here, but I could also be wrong about that. And it seems like we have hit upon a dead end. I do know that there's like a you need to kill 6 oversouls, I think, and since I haven't gone to a save point, I'm sure that counter is still going, so we can easily track that via the bestiary as well, I just realized. 2. left. I'm guessing that, like, the total number to unlock its, description in the bestiary is, okay, since Faith went up, I'm gonna go ahead and recast Float, because usually the timers coincide there. But yeah, maybe the total is 6 to unlock the extra entry. Speaking of which, though, I have recently found out that you do not need to unlock the expanded lore for every enemy in the bestiary to get the Order of Ambrosia clan rank for filling out the Sky Pirate's Den. You just need to have every enemy in the bestiary. So you have to have fought every type of enemy in the game at least once. And that includes rare games. So it is still an unholy nightmare to get, but it's nowhere near as bad as you'd think. And thankfully, it also means that you don't have to murder innocent Gareth just to get it, because there are no hostile Gareth in the game. The only way to unlock the extra lore entry, like, of Gareth and the bestiary is to, yeah, just murder them in the fields. Murder allied ones. So really big, yeah, area down there. So we're here, and do we have any, like, idea where that... Okay, there's the Salika Wood entrance. I think the Salika Wood entrance is the one that you use for getting the Zodiac Spear early. Because since I never did that in my first playthrough of this game, I don't know exactly where the Zodiac Spear is. I know that it's, like, in the original, there was a giant clump of chests in one of the rooms that matches the clump of chests in the, oh, it's another Oversoul, great. So I need, that's probably the last one I need to make the rare game spawn, too. Although I think it only spawns in a specific area, but I also got Bravery, I'll check that out later. Casting Faith there. Speaking of Bravery, its counterpart. Yeah, I'll put Bravery in the Gambits later, maybe. Because I don't really see that much of, like, a need for it at the moment. Oh, there we go, Dark Elemental. Yeah, you need to lure one of those in front of a specific door in order for a certain rare game to spawn. And I'm just going to get this out of the way now, because I know it's going to aggro eventually, so I'm just going to go, I'm going to Holy you in the face. And Penelo is going to do the same thing. There's actually a rare game Dark Elemental in Subterra. Oh no, it's another Oversoul. Yeah, these things are kind of scary to a low-level party because they just kind of jump scare you and then take your MP. Silence Garp. Okay, somebody get Balthier in. I suppose I'll have to remove Ash as well. And I suppose now that I'm putting Fran into the party, let's try something. Now she can finally equip good shields. And it's the black robes, not the black garb. And I'll change that to dark vulnerable. Oh, there we go. Yeah, there's the rare game. Yikes, that's a lot of health. And you're weak to holy, so I'm guessing you're not vulnerable to dark. Yeah, she's casting Ardor. This thing is definitely not vulnerable to dark. That's a shame. I need to get her out of the party, though, and I'm not really sure that's going to happen anytime soon because she keeps getting targeted by area spells. Oh, disable her. I am going to preemptively equip something, to nullify that. I'd probably rather have that on Vaughn. I bought all those black belts earlier for a reason. Okay, it missed everyone anyway. I've actually read that if the entire party gets disabled, that it's a game over. I don't know if that includes reserves or not. And let's... Okay, there we go. That wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. With that huge HP pool that I... Nope. You are using, not black magic. I want you to use an area cure spell. Yeah, she still heals a lot, even with, and I also don't actually want Balthier in the party. even with lesser tiered cure spells. Yeah, so, okay, here's Darker. 11,000? And she's at full health, too. Like, 10,000-ish. Which isn't actually the greatest thing out there. I think she was actually doing more with... Oh, but these things are weak to Dark, so that's gonna be doing a lot more. I think she was doing more with Ardor. Yeah, that's a lot of damage with Dark there. Yeah, so it seems that while a lot of the enemies in the Pharos are weak to Holy, there are a lot of enemies in here that are weak to Dark, which is kind of the opposite of what you'd expect. You'd think that in this sort of ancient, destroyed ruin, that most of the enemies in here would be unholy abominations that are weak to Holy, and in the realm of the gods, the enemies would be weak to Dark, but no, it's the opposite. And yeah, these things are probably named after the Tower of Babel. Actually, I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce that, which probably makes me sound really stupid, but... Because I was just... Well, actually it made me think of a certain SMT game that I probably shouldn't say, because that's probably a spoiler. Okay, so I think this would be... Oh, Protector, yeah. So I did mention Protector and Shelgor in here, and I think Vaughn can use that. Can he? Or do I just not have that yet? Yeah, I unlocked that but never licensed it. And he doesn't have enough LP for that. I forgot that you got Protector and Shelgor in here. So this one... Medallion of Bravery. Okay, so we actually can fight this one. Cloister of Distant Song. Okay, something tells me that we will hit a dead end if we go the other way. Also, is anybody Librid? I'm worried that people aren't Librid here. Well, yeah, missed, so somebody is clearly Librid. Yeah, that looks like a dead end. Pulsar Wave sounds painful. I suppose while I'm exploring around here... Something else that I just want to mention about my, to add to my Vayne rant from before, is that the other thing I think that makes Vayne maybe a little bit more, I don't know, believable as a well-intentioned extremist villain than that person, is that Vayne's vendetta against the gods doesn't unintentionally come across as racism. It helps that he's actually working with Vanar and doesn't express any contempt for Vanar being, you know, one of the Acuria. They just, you know, see them as someone else with the same ideology and respect them as an ally. And that, I think, as I said, that definitely helps. Oh, that is really cool! This thing absorbs Dark because of the shield that it's using, which works exactly the same way that the Demon Shield works when, like Fran's equipping it right now, it absorbs Dark. So, that is really cool. Like, not only do the Baknami, like, you know, use weapons, like, it's not just an aesthetic thing, but they actually get the benefits of, like, the same benefits of those weapons that you do. Oh, I'm actually really wishing that more RPGs did that, like, had some kind of goblinoid enemy, like, or orc or something that, scavenges human weapons that actually gets the same benefit from them that you do. That's really cool. And like, that way you get a bit of a gameplay advantage from, from knowing how those weapons work if you use them yourself. Because you're like, okay, yeah, that's why that thing is absorbing Dark, because that's how the weapon works. Absorb Holy. Is that better than the Gold Hairpin? Yeah, I had a feeling the Hypno Crown wasn't great. It's a big drop in Vitality, but a big boost in Magic Resist. Doesn't change your actual magic stat, though. I guess the Black Mask and the White Mask are kind of equivalents. So yeah, that's definitely one of... Yeah, anyway, I won't get into that, but like... I still can't believe... I mean, they probably didn't intend for that one character in that one game to come across... Like, they were supposed to come across as humanist, but, like... the way that the setting was set up and the fact that we actually meet very sympathetic and very human members of that race that this person, and just the kind of language they use as well, calling them monsters in human skin, and like using terms like that sound like they might look like us, but deep down they're really monsters, and they can't be allowed political power because of what they are. It just really disgusted me. So that just... Anyway, doesn't feel like it's in play here. Here it feels like the emphasis is like... It's like you've got the same sentence, but the emphasis is different. So like, here it's like, there are some like divine non-human beings who have been manipulating humanity for millennia. The emphasis here is on the manipulation of humanity. Whereas in the other, while I think they intended to put the emphasis on the same way, to me it always felt more like there are some divine non-human beings who have been manipulating humanity. Like, it always felt like the emphasis was simply on the fact they weren't human, and that they were bad because they weren't human. And that just... yeah, a lot of issues in that, so yeah, I won't say any more there, but I'll just say that this game kind of avoids that. Though, on that note, though, there may be a bit of possible racist implications with the Baknami, which actually does kind of fit for this area, because they actually mention in the bestiary, which I haven't shown yet, that's, like, they're kind of despised by a lot of the other humanoid races, and they're often sort of, like, and they've attempted to... Oh, no, that was the Urutan Yensa. The Urutan Yensa have attempted to integrate into some humanoid settlements, but it's always failed. But with the Baknami, it seems like... And you'll actually see a little later here that there is, not all Baknami are actually bloodthirsty monsters, so... Yeah, I don't know, maybe in a future Ivalice game, there are Baknami that are treated a little bit better than this. But... Anyway... So, we had one of the medallions over there, Door of Despair. The word might. Yep, okay, that is the final door, so we can't open that one yet, because the Lucilicent medallion hasn't yet awakened into the Medallion of Might. Which it will after we beat the other boss. Runeblade, that has long since been outclassed. I think we should fight that other boss here, and then... maybe we will, we'll explore that exit that leads to the, Salika Wood. Which is still an area that, I need to cast Float again, which is still an area that I ended up liking a lot more than I expected to. But there have been a lot of reports of people who played this game in the PS2 version for the first time coming into here early to get the Zodiac Spear, and then you need to remember the Guide Daggett Chest of Doom, though. So I'm glad that's not the case in this version, but I also like that there are still rewards for coming here early. You can get Bravery, Faith, Protector, and I think Shelga if you come here early. Another Runeblade. That one was just a random drop, I think. Okay then. Gonna heal again. No, I think you can just go for Cure, I suppose. Penelo's running a little low on MP, so maybe I won't use her to buff here, and instead I'll go for, like, well, Ash's Silence, but I can fix that, because Balthier will immediately use a remedy if I do that. And then I can set us to buffing Gambit, so this one is definitely Humbaba, and that means that it's almost certainly a heavy physical-based attacker. Yeah, now I have a buffer in my male party, so that's good. Let's go! Let's use the Medallion of Bravery. I don't know if it would have been too cheesy to have the other be called the Medallion of Faith and have them be actually named after buffs. So if I remember right, this thing isn't actually just straight up called Humbaba, it's like Humbaba something. I think it's like Humbaba Misstaint or something. But that might be one of those words that I misread when I was younger. Well, that is a really big sword. That's a cool looking enemy, though. Sort of like partly bull, partly lizard. Yeah, Humbaba Misstance. Haste and bravery, and nobody has Dispel. But I have moats, so I can do that. I should... okay, yeah, Barsh is the only one here who's not charging and attacking right now, so I'm going to go ahead and, Dark... Yeah, I don't really know what Dark Energy does. I've never really heard of that before, but, I have reverse moats, too. Also bowl modes in case I wanted to bubble Vaan, but no, let's use a Dispel mode. Okay. I wonder if somebody here should have some wine. This is actually one of my favorite boss themes in this one. Well, I guess Bolthir could be the one to... No, I'm not gonna have him give alcohol to Vaan, who's sort of his protege and possibly underage for drinking in this universe. Although having Barsh do it too would be probably... yeah. Let's have Vaan drink it himself. I just want to see if, because the katana I think has like a faster attacking speed, so it'll probably benefit the most from Berserk, and has a higher combo attack rate as well, I think. Okay, this guy does have a pretty sizable amount of HP and physical defense. I guess Bolthir can Curaja. This could be a showcase of my, you know, newfound, oh, Vaan still doesn't quite have enough. It would be a showcase of my newfound, buffing skills of my males, except, you know, Vaan's Berserk, so he couldn't buff anyway, even if he wanted to. I don't really know what this thing is weak... Oh, and I use Protect again. I don't know if I can really afford to be spamming these, Dispel motes. Well, we're near the end of the game anyway, and at the same time... We're Berserked, we're mostly physical, so Dispelling Protect is going to greatly increase our damage. I wonder if an X potion will heal Vaan back up to full for his, I would say Vaan immediately got hit again, but he didn't. It seemed like that attack didn't actually hit him. Oh, I don't have, I don't actually have full on Bolthir. Okay, you are combo attacking quite a lot, though. I wish I did have full on Bolthir, because I would have actually liked to use Fanfrit, but... I guess I can save Fanfrit for the big boss of this place. Though, spoilers, the big boss of this place is actually weak to, Earth, so Hushmal, which Bolthir also has. And so, he leaves behind that sword, which doesn't look nearly as big in the act... They really don't... Okay, then. One of the designers must have just decided to be silly with these boss fights. First you had the killer rabbit from Monty Python, and now you have that. that fight that's totally serious until the death scene, in which case, yeah. The sword does not look that big in the actual fight. Oh, you know, honestly, this actually might be... Oh, no, there are some bosses in the post-game we'll hear this for. But during my playthrough of the main story, this is some of the few times that we'll hear... Oh, well, I suppose you're... I don't know if... Okay, so... Do you get that after beating both the bosses and reviving the medallion? Or are you supposed to fight that guy first? Because if you're supposed to fight that guy first, I now feel kind of embarrassed that I didn't go for that first, and I only have the map now that I'm already almost done with the Nechrol. Because, yeah, that's the Crucible. That's where the Realm of Chaos is, literally. Yeah, I'm gonna dispel Vaan just because I don't want him to be as some meme people would say, an angry boy while we are exploring this place. How are we in terms of everyone's level? Yeah, Barsh is the only one who's lower level than everyone else. So there's a trap there. Penelo is really running low on MP, but I guess she'll float us over it, because I kind of want to grab this. Up we go, and now, what is this? Scathe mode. Not the most useful thing in the world, considering that we have the Scathe spell ourselves now. Which I could be telling Ash to use, but I honestly think she's going to be doing more damage. You know what? I can try Scathe on things. It has a really long animation, and in the PS2 version it was really not worth it, because I think it and Scourge had maximum effect capacity, which meant that no other spells could go off while its animation was happening. So yeah, made magic. This version has no effect capacity, and that drastically changes the way that you think about the magic system. I'm going to let Penelo have a bit of a rest. I know I've used Fran a lot here, but she's on her buff setup. Because, but she does have these things weakness, so there's that. I just remember, I have Deathbringer on Barsh, don't I? It's weaker on hit KO. You know what, I'm just going to try this for a little bit and just see if I can, get a bit of Barsh shield action in here. Huh. The Deathbringer looks very similar to the ultimate dagger for Joker in Persona 5 Strikers. So we'll go through here and head to that first area. I don't know if these things resist Dark or not, because they use Dark themselves, and Dark Vulnerable just means they're not immune to Dark. If they're resistant to Dark, they will still be attacked by people with that gambit, I think. Oh, they have Shell. Maybe that's why. Oh, there's instant death. So that's kind of nice. But yeah, they have shells. That might be why Fran isn't doing as much damage to them. Yeah, unfortunately, the AoE means that if one of the enemies here is Dark Vulnerable, but another one drains it, then Fran will still attack the one that's vulnerable to Dark with Dark, even though she'll hit the one that drains it. Gambits are relatively smart as far as party member AI goes, but there are limits to them. You can't really make, like, and/or statements to them. Another Hypno Crown. I feel like Hypno Crown was in another Final Fantasy game. I'm not completely sure about that, but it sounds like something that was in another Final Fantasy game. And so, our intrepid explorers proceeded even further into the Nechrol of Nabudis, in hopes of finally just finishing up the map, I guess. Oh no, slow. Oh, miss, that's good. Well, thankfully she's going for Ardor immediately. Doesn't have full health, though. I really like the concept of the Nechrol of Nabudis. I feel like there needs to be more of the... I mean, I know there are already a lot of, like, ancient sort of, you know, abandoned city dungeons in places, but usually, like, they're plot required, and are, you know, and were, like, part of an ancient technologically advanced civilization. Like, this place doesn't really feel technologically advanced. Like, they're on the same technology level as the rest of the world. They just got, you know, attacked by the Empire. It's a bit of a more mundane case of civilization ruins in an RPG. A bit of a more grounded example than a lot of cases where, again, they're like ancient. How many Hasker modes do I have? I kind of feel like I want to use one, but at the same time, they're best saved for bosses because they, I think Vaughn can remedy that slow away. Because, yeah, haste wears off very quickly, so, yeah, again, probably better used in bosses, but... Yeah, now I think about it, it's not often that you see, like, ruins in an RPG that are, like, a recently ruined civilization. Like, a bit more realistic, like, again, the kind of atomic Fallout theme they were going for here. Rather than, you know, an ancient civilization that fell to ruin that's, you know, for some reason had extremely advanced technology. As is often the case with ancient RPG civilizations. Yeah, I actually do think Ardor with the Burning Bow does more. I don't even know if Darko is faster or anything, because there's definitely a big delay after Fran casts it before she can cast it again. Well, that's interesting. Secret place. Oh, this is the one. This is the least disguised mimic in history. I remember, like, ages ago. Oh, Silencer too. So yeah, there's a lot of magic in here. But yeah, remember ages ago I was talking about how there was one mimic that looks like a stained glass window. Yeah, this is the least disguised mimic in history. Though I do like the name Pandora. You know, reference to Pandora's box. It's a pretty cool name for a mimic enemy, but that's honestly still like I just do think it is definitely one of the. I don't know how many other people who played FF12 like take that away from it, but one of like this game's biggest charms to me was always the mimics and just how bad they were at disguising themselves. It's like, oh look, there's a treasure chest in bright rainbow colors. No other chest in the game looks like that. At the same time, though, I love the fact they actually justify the mimics by having the chests, like, actually resemble insect abdomens, so it makes more sense why a mimic would, you know, disguise itself as one. There is also an origin story for the mimics in the game's BC area. I haven't actually gone over that yet because it's in the extra info for the Urutan Yensa, oddly enough. And, well, we'll see a bit later. I'm going to show that one at a certain point, mostly because it ties into a super boss, let's just say. Now, after we reach this place, are we still... Yeah, we're still Librid. We're definitely still Librid. I don't think I have any float boats left. So I might have to just switch out everyone except Fran for that. I want to find that secret shop before I go to the boss, like the big boss, who I should stop being coy about the name, because obviously it's Chaos. We already know that for a fact. Somebody seems to be... Oh no, by removing Vaan, I got rid of my Libra. Oh, Dark Namis that can cast Death. That is really... It would certainly make sense, though, for this to be the Beefgate part of the Nechrol of Nabudis, given that this is the area you can get into via an early game area. Well, mid-game-ish area. And, yeah, for those who don't know, I actually wanted to talk about the Beefgate trope during the Feywood, which I almost called the Feywild, but I just stopped myself from doing it again. Because... yeah, Beefgate is a TV trope that basically is a way, like... Okay, yeah, I was saying before, like a long time before, this was actually quite a while back, so I understand if you don't remember when I was talking about it, but Broken Bridge is one of the ways that more open games stop players from going into parts they don't want them to access yet. The other way, and the way that's a little less immersion breaking than Broken Bridge, and also a bit more, you know, encouraging of the player's choice and freedom than Broken Bridge, but at the same time is also probably meaner, is Beefgate. Beefgate is where you can go into any area you want, but if you go the wrong way, you will have to fight enemies that are bajillions of levels higher than you, and you will probably die horribly. This trope isn't exclusive to RPGs, though, because I know that Breath of the Wild uses it. Like, Breath of the Wild uses Beefgates for its main progression. Like, where you can go is pretty much dictated based on, like, what kind of enemies you can handle. There's a little bit of player... well, actually, a lot of player skill involved in that, too. And, like, in this game, with the right gambits, with the right spells and class combinations, you can beat enemies that are much higher level than you, so... there are a lot of ways to circumvent Beefgates in games that have them, but there are also some where, you know, like, it's almost impossible, like, you know, Xenoblade Chronicles is a good example of that, because they actually make level factor into accuracy significantly, so that if you're fighting an enemy that's 20 levels higher than you, you just won't be able to hit them at all, and then also because of the tension system, Okay, okay, before I continue that tangent, I'm going to look up where that secret shop is. Oh, I haven't even fought the other hunt that I need to beat in the Nechrol of Nabudis. Death Scythe. Okay. Oh, interesting. Okay, so the secret shop was here in the original, but in Zodiac, it's in Cloister of the Highborn, which I had to go to anyway, because that's where the hunt mark is. Which also, that thing that the guy said about it weakening its enemies before it steals their souls, that was actually a hint, because you need to have at least one party member at less than 10% HP in order for it to spawn, and that is a lot of Backnamis, wow. Interestingly, this secret shop is pretty much right next to where the hunt monster spawns, so I may as well take care of both in the same trip. And we're also really close to Chaos, which I'm going to be doing next time. Which will mean the Nechrol of Nabudis will end up being 3 parts, but I guess that makes sense. This is a pretty decently major dungeon. Optional dungeon, but still. So apologies if this is delaying, like, the very end game, but don't worry, that's going to come right after this. And that's going to be very, very... No, I do not want to fight those yet. Pinello's using Holy... Oh, hey, something died. Nice one. I think Pinello just soloed something. So right up here, in this kind of vaguely cross-shaped corner... I can easily reduce somebody to 10% HP via Infuse. Here we go. Van, infuse yourself. Okay, so his first infuse is going to do that, but then when I get him to 1 MP, there we go, and infuse again. There we go, there it is. So it's going to appear and it's going to teleport everywhere, and thankfully Pinello's going to automatically heal him. Death Scythe. I don't know what this thing is weak to, but I'm going to hazard a guess and I'm going to say Holy, which I could be wrong about, but we'll see. And equip the Holy Lance on Barsh. Okay, Barsh just hit for 10,000 damage. I'm guessing it's weak to Holy. And Pinello just did 15,000. Yes, it's... You know, I was gonna try and berserk Barsh and then, oh, it became immune to physical damage. Well, I guess you just want us to holy you to death. Seems to be taking reduced damage now, though. Oh, I think I know why Ash is using Thundaga, because I put her on the buff setup. Death Scythe begins casting death. And it actually worked. But then it died itself. Or re-died. So that's both our hunts here vanquished, and that also means that we'll be able to report back and complete more of the Jovi side quest, because they're both Nalbina Fortress hunts. So the other thing I wanted to take care of here is it this pillar? It's one of the pillars. There's a question mark that you need to... There we go! Yeah, I don't know how they expect you to find out about this. They moved... This was actually in, like I mentioned, it was actually in the Hall of Effulgent Light in the original version of the game. Maybe they moved it here to make it harder to access this early. They wanted to make sure that you have to brave at least some of the Nechrol in order to get here. But yes, so this is the proof that not all Backnamis are vicious monsters. This guy sells a bunch of decent accessories. But the main thing that he sells is ammo. So, we already have at least one of every type of these, except for the bamboo arrows. But, yeah, this is your only place to get most of this stuff in terms of, like, actually buying it. Unfortunately, we already have most of it from before. He also sells some motes. In particular, float motes are pretty useful in the Nechrol of Nabudis, so I'll get 5 of those. And high ethers, you can't buy those in many places. And, yeah, this is the only place you can get Esunaga. Now, in the original PS2 version, this guy sold Scathe after Bahamut appears. And this is the only place you can get Scathe, but that's different in this version. Yeah, there's we'll get more of these. So, I think, yeah, that's... But being able to buy things like the Fuzzy Miter and especially the Power Armlet, that's all pretty good. And also, while we're here, I might as well unload my Nechrol loot. But, yeah, nothing new from the Bazaar out of that. And there he goes. So, yeah, we got Esunaga, but that's really the only thing that we kind of get out of that. I really should go out of this place and save, but at the same time, I am right next to where Chaos is. The Door of Despair. I am going to want to fully buff my entire party before I head in there, and that's what I will be doing next time. So, see you all then when we face Chaos, and, well, find out exactly what Chaos is. Although, at this point, you should have a pretty good idea.